Hello, I'm Bill O'Donnell, and welcome to another program on spirituality. Today in the studio, I am indeed thrilled to have as my guest Brother Luke Roney, Christian brother from the College of Santa Fe and former president of the College of Santa Fe. Welcome, Brother Luke.
Thank you.
Brother Luke has had a long and distinguished career at the College of Santa Fe. He's got a doctorate in mathematics before he became the president of the college for many years. And he brings a wealth of history to us today to share, and a video produced by the College of Santa Fe, which I thought was just marvelous, giving the history of the brothers and the Christian brothers here at the College of Santa Fe in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So welcome, Brother Luke.
Thank you.
We've talked for years about getting you in here, and now we have this support of the video. But before we go to the video, and tell us a little bit about your life and how you became a Christian brother.
Well, I guess I became a Christian brother merely by force of circumstances.
Yeah.
My mother died when I was 5. We were 4 boys. My dad sent us up to St. Mike's, which was a boarding school in those days. I was in the 4th grade, and my younger brother was, I think, in the 1st grade. My 2 older brothers, I think the oldest was in the 8th grade.
And what year was that, Brother Luke?
1925. Mm-hmm. We came up on the train, if I remember, from Albuquerque to Lamy. From Lamy, we took the train to Santa Fe. Somebody must have picked us up at the train station. And I remember that first afternoon, whatever day it was, the first thing I remember doing at St. Mike's was going to benediction, because they had benediction several times a week.
Yeah.
And it just so happened we got there in time for benediction. I was a boarder there for 4 years. 2 of my older brothers graduated at St. Mike's, but
what year did St. Mike's begin, you recall?
1859.
1859.
St. Mike's is the oldest school in the state of New Mexico. And the brothers came here at the invitation of Bishop Lamy, Jean-Baptiste Lamy. He had invited the Sisters of Loretto from Kentucky prior to that to open the school for girls. And he sent his vicar to France to persuade the brothers to send the superiors, the French brothers, to send 4 brothers to the Santa Fe, which they did. And they opened, Lamy gave them the old church. There were a couple of side rooms on the side of the old church that are still there. Actually, the gift shop that was the first residence in the first school building. Those rooms on the side of the old church. And of course, little by little, they built the buildings that are still there.
And we're talking about what's called now the San Miguel Chapel, which is the oldest church in the country.
Correct. And that's where we went to Mass every day.
Yeah.
And
who were the priests that served at that time? Were they Franciscans?
I believe he was a diocesan, Father Cryer. He was pretty much stone deaf. He heard confessions in the sacristy. And of course, we lined up outside to go de rigueur to go to confession once a week. We could always hear what he was saying because he had to shout because he was, but I don't think as kids we had very much to tell him anyway.
But anyhow, you suggested it was a question of circumstances, but did any of your other brothers go into religious life?
No.
So you were number 2, right?
I was number 3.
Number 3
of the 4.
Of the 3 of the 4.
And my 2 older brothers graduated there.
So now looking back, I mean, the hand of God was obviously on you, and what did it look like to you as a young boy? I mean, you decided at the 8th grade to go off to New Orleans to go to
7th grade.
7th grade to go to
Well,
their,
because
formation.
But in those days, the brothers in the Santa Fe, New Orleans province were really just beginning. Brothers had been here, but not run by this group of French brothers who had been expelled from France, went to Mexico, expelled from Mexico. They were assigned to take over. These French brothers, coming out of Mexico to Cuba to the U.S., they ended up in California and New York. And somewhere along the line, around 1917, 18, somewhere along the line, they were told to come take over St. Michael's from the American brothers and to open a school in Covington, Louisiana that was actually run by the Benedictine priests that had a seminary there. So they started at Covington, Louisiana and St. Michael's in Santa Fe.
All right. Listen, at this point, I think
and that was the beginning of the French brothers taking over our province.
I got you.
New Orleans, Santa Fe province, as it's called.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think maybe at this time we might bring the other people up to speed, and we'll run this videotape that was produced by the College of Santa Fe recently, and it includes Brother Luke as well as his successor, Brother Don Mouton, the last Christian brother president, and then I believe this was commissioned by the first lay president, Dr. Jim Fries, and then later Dr. Linda Hansen. So sit back and relax, call your friends, tell them to turn on their television to watch this 14-minute video of the Christian Brothers and the College of Santa Fe. Okay, now you take it off.
On October 27th, 1859, we arrived in the village of Santa Fe. Brothers Gandulf, Jeremius, Galmier, Joseph, and myself, Brother Hilarion, go directly to the old San Miguel Church, where we are to teach. It is an adobe hut with 4 walls. We had a small but very pleasant meal with Bishop Lamy and retired to a large room with an old mattress spread on the floor. Our traveling blankets gave us warmth. As our long journey from France came to an end, it was our first night in the city of Holy Faith.
The bishop, later to become the first Archbishop of Santa Fe, Jean-Baptiste Lamy, had the task of educating the early Spanish and Mexican settlers of the New Mexico territory. His call for educators went directly to his fellow countrymen, the Brothers of the Christian Schools in France. Their founder, Jean-Baptiste de La Salle, was a man of God who had a great passion for education. In 1684, his order was founded, and he and his dedicated followers built many schools throughout Europe. Because demand for education by the Christian Brothers in Europe was so great, only 4 could be spared to make the long journey to America. The brothers took possession of the school on December 15, 1859. To furnish their adobe hut, they were given 5 mattresses, 5 blankets, 2 tables, a few benches, and some old carpets. It was under these modest conditions that a college was founded in Santa Fe. The school quickly grew, and the old adobe hut was replaced by a large modern schoolhouse. The boys of St. Michael's spent most of their time in the classrooms where they studied math, science, and philosophy. In their leisure time, the boys dined together and read the local newspapers. Sports were also a popular pastime. Under Brother Botolph's direction, St. Michael's earned a reputation of high rank among other educational institutions in the Southwest. This prompts the territorial legislature of 1874 to grant a charter incorporating St. Michael's as the College of Christian Brothers of New Mexico. In 1910, the New Mexico Constitutional Convention was held, and 22 of the delegates boast St. Michael's as their alma mater. While World War I raged overseas, the college flourished, filling the business community, political arenas, and religious institutions of New Mexico with well-educated men. After the war ended in 1918, college-level education at St. Michael's was dropped. However, the brothers maintained education for the young men at a secondary level in the hopes of someday becoming a college again. It was a dream that would not be realized for another 30 years. Brother Benildus of Mary came to Santa Fe in 1928 from Lafayette, Louisiana, with a purpose. His dream was to establish a Catholic college for young men in New Mexico. He started teaching at St. Michael's High School, where he later became principal in 1938. It was in 1945 that he set out to realize his dream and the dream of his predecessors by initiating the St. Michael's Expansion Program. His goal? To raise $500,000 to build a college. The proposed plan was to build dormitories, classrooms, and a new auditorium on land adjacent to the old San Miguel Church. Unfortunately, only about $100,000 in private funds was raised, far from enough for the needed construction. His dream was put on hold. As the Second World War came to an end, so did the need for the Bruns Army Hospital, located on the outskirts of Santa Fe. The closing date was set for December of 1946, and the hospital was put up for bid by the U.S. War Assets Administration. Brother Benildus saw a unique opportunity and went to work. With the money raised a few years earlier, the help of the city of Santa Fe and Senator Dennis Chavez, Brother Benildus's persistent and lengthy negotiations with the government pays off. On May 7, 1947, Bruns Army Hospital was turned over to the Christian Brothers, and work began to prepare the buildings for a mid-September opening of that year. The now empty halls and rooms that were once filled with the sick and wounded would soon be filled with young students. On September 15, 1947, Brother Benildus's dream comes true as the first faculty of 15 brothers welcome 148 students to St. Michael's College. On June 1, 1950, St. Michael's graduates its first class of 23 students. In August of 1957, Brother Benildus realized that improving the 12-year-old campus and its aging barracks would require a full-time fundraising effort. He decided to step down as president in order to concentrate on raising money. Only 2 weeks later, on August 28, 1957, while on a fundraising trip in Los Angeles, Brother Benildus of Mary died of a heart attack. He was 50 years old. The college to which he was devoted will forever have his mark. Brother Raymond Ogden stepped in as acting president until Brother Cyprian Luke Roney is appointed in June of 1958. This native New Mexican from Albuquerque and former St. Michael's student had big plans for the college. Many changes were on the horizon, and Brother Luke's first move was not a modest one. In August of 1959, he announced a $7 million master plan to renovate the campus. With mortar and brick, Brother Luke built for the future with a fitting tribute to Brother Benildus. In 1961, Benildus Hall was dedicated. As a direct result of Brother Luke's hard work, The biggest reward of his master plan came in April of 1965. He is greeted by students and faculty at the Albuquerque airport on his return from Chicago, where the North Central Association of Colleges and Universities announced that the college had been accredited. When Brother Luke returned, businessman Colonel E.E. Buddy Fogelson and his wife, actress Greer Garson, called to congratulate him. Brother Luke had been friends with the couple since 1960, when Buddy had made a modest contribution of $5,000 to the college. Buddy's next contribution was not so modest and had helped to complete a new liberal arts building that opened in December of 1965. The new building housed a glorious theater that was named after his Academy Award-winning wife. One short month later, on January 1st, 1966, St. Michael's College officially became the College of Santa Fe, but the biggest change was yet to come. The fall semester of 1966 ushered in a new era for the college as women are admitted. Out of the 1,000 students enrolled that fall, 100 were women. Buddy Fogelson's generosity continued. In 1970, the college dedicated the Fogelson Library, one of its most beautiful and cherished buildings. And in 1975, Greer Garson, in one of her last and finest stage performances, plays the lead in The Mad Woman of Chaillot in the theater which bears her name. New buildings, accreditation, a co-ed student body, and most of all, a strong faith in the institution and its values characterized Brother Luke's tenure, which came to a close with his retirement in 1982. On June 30th of that year, the Board of Trustees appointed Brother Donald Mouton, a noted and inspired scholar, as president. During Brother Mouton's early years in office, intercollegiate sports were both celebrated and ill-fated. In March of 1983, after claiming the District 7 title, the College of Santa Fe Knights advanced to the quarterfinals of the NAIA tournament in Kansas City. The Knights fell 5 points and 2 games shy of the championship. But the financial pressures of running both a successful basketball program and a distinguished academic program were beginning to show. The president and the board had to choose, and intercollegiate athletics were eventually suspended. Academically, the college was reaching new heights as the first master's degree program was added to the curriculum. About the same time, college officials learned that the private Catholic University of Albuquerque would be closing its doors. Brother Mouton and the board made the bold decision to grow a branch campus. Brother Mouton's leadership not only helped the college survive, but expanded it with a campus in Albuquerque, and now Brother Donald decided it was time to return to what he loved best. Dr. James Fries becomes the first layman president of the college and is officially inaugurated on August 29th of 1987. 3 short years later, the College of Santa Fe reaches national recognition as it is named one of the nation's up-and-coming colleges by U.S. News and World Report in the fall of 1990. That same year, the Garson Communications Center opened its doors to filmmakers and students alike. With 2 professional sound stages, the center has accommodated such films as City Slickers, White Sands, and Wyatt Earp, and a host of independent projects and television commercials. And in July of 1991, the Driscoll Fitness Center is built in honor of longtime supporter Rudy Driscoll. April 6, 1996, a sad day in Dallas, Texas that is profoundly felt in Santa Fe and throughout the nation. The beloved Greer Garson Fogelson dies. Her legacy, however, lives forever in the theater and the communications center and in the many personal ways she touched lives at the College of Santa Fe. In September of 1996 and 1997, U.S. News and World Report yet again ranks the College of Santa Fe among the top 10 liberal arts colleges in the West. Today, the old adobe hut still stands. For the Christian Brothers, it represents over 130 years of service in New Mexico. For the brothers of the College of Santa Fe, it is a reminder of the dedication of the new founders, the ones who 50 years ago built this college. Brother Benildus probably never dreamed the college would become so prominent. Today, the aged Army barracks are getting a new facelift, and an award-winning multi-million-dollar art center opened its doors to a new generation of artists. And in July 2000, the College of Santa Fe welcomed Dr. Linda Hansen as its 6th president. Dr. Hansen began her term with vision and determination, eager to lead the college toward a greater distinction in the new century. It is clear that the mission of the early Christian brothers has been fulfilled and will flourish in a new era at the College of Santa Fe.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Okay, wasn't that great? I want to thank the College of Santa Fe for this terrific video. It's a great history, and it was great to have you as a part of it to come and share with it with us. Anything stimulate your memory here, Brother Luke?
The memory I have is the first time I saw this,
Yeah.
I did not even know it had been done.
Yeah.
And I was very pleased how well it turned out,
Yeah.
because it covers a great deal of the history of the college from Brother Benildus to the present president.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge David Quintana and Janet Wise, who you saw in the credits there at the beginning, or at the end, who apparently produced and directed this piece. They did a marvelous job. Well, it talks about a great history that you've been a part of, Brother Luke, as you look back on your life as a Christian brother and president of the college. What stands out in your memory?
Of the history of my years at the College of Santa Fe?
Yes.
Oh, many things.
Yeah.
However, the reason I became involved with the College of Santa Fe is because I had just come back from Catholic U in Washington, D.C. with my doctorate in mathematics. And Brother Benildus is probably solely responsible for extending the high school program into a four-year college program. He did it because he wanted to do it. He had been principal at St. Mike's. And one of the things that legally is important to know, we operate the College of Santa Fe under a charter given by the territorial legislature to the brothers in 1874. And on the wall outside of the college, the entrance to the college campus, on that wall, it says chartered 1874. And anybody who looks at that and even thinks about it is wondering, this place can't be that old.
Yeah.
But Brother Bro.Luke had gotten that charter from the territorial legislature. We still operate the college under that charter, because in that charter it gives the brothers of the Christian schools authority to operate St. Michael's College and any other high school or university they want to operate in the state of New Mexico. So we operate the college under that charter. We grant our degrees under that charter that was given by the territorial legislature. And we commemorated that when I built the entrance wall. I put chartered in 1874 because it reflects to the great educational work that the brothers did from the beginning of their existence here. One of the pictures in that film, half of the territorial legislators had gone to school at St. Michael's College. They were responsible for the education of the men in this territory, long before public education existed. We tend to think public education has been forever here.
Yeah.
That is not so. Public education came around 1890, somewhere in there. St. Mike's has been there 1859.
And continues in a fine
And
tradition.
continues a fine tradition of private education.
And the only real advanced education, as it mentioned in the tape, or a good portion of the legislature way back when were all graduates or attended the college.
If they were going to have a high school education, they had to go to St. Michael's College.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note that because a lot of people who are new to the state, I didn't arrive in the state until the early 70s for the first time. I didn't move here until the early 80s. Don't realize this fine tradition that the Christian Brothers have here, both at St. Mike's and then later at the College of Santa Fe.
And that has to be attributed to Bishop Lamy, who put education high on his priority of the many, many things he had to do when he came the bishop here.
Yeah.
But he brought in the Sisters of Loretto before he brought in the Christian Brothers. Fortunately, the Christian Brothers are still very active in the educational part of Santa Fe. St. Michael's is the oldest educational institution in the state, St. Michael's High School, where I went to school as a kid.
Yeah, starting the 4th grade. It's hard to
Started
imagine.
there in the 4th, and every year there was a brother that used to come into all of the classes and talk about, to us kids, about the opportunities of being a brother and how we would. I was attracted at the age of 14, not by being a Christian brother and teaching school. I was attracted by the allurement of the banana trees down in Louisiana and the bayous where we could go fishing and swimming.
Yeah.
And of course, when I got down there, little by little, I found out that there was more to it than that.
Well, I've got you here, and just with the few minutes we have remaining, why don't you be that brother today and tell those people listening out there, perhaps some men, because nowadays most of the vocations are coming from older men. And what advice would you have for a man who's considering possibly religious life or the Christian Brothers as a vocation?
I would say if God has given you a vocation, which you will only discover little by little, you'll never make a mistake and never be unhappy if you're true to that vocation. There's always going to be plenty to do. They're going to find something that you're happy doing, whatever it's going to be. Each individual has its own talents, and in my experience, the superiors know how to use that talent and how to discover it and take advantage of it. And I think any young man who's is interested in serving, that's the first thing. You may not know that when you're 14. You learn that as that's the part of the job.
Right. Well, I hate to interrupt you at that point. I can also say that from my own experience, having been involved with LaSalle ministry now for 19 years, currently this show actually comes out of that through the Institute for Spirituality, which is a Christian Brother presentation. So on behalf of everybody here at Spirituality TV, Brother Luke, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing some of your memories and highlighting this video for us. And I want to encourage you, if something is of interest that Brother Luke has said, even for your own life, the last brother I know who joined came in as a retired man after he was a widower in his 60s. So there's room way up into that area. So give that some thought and some prayer. So again, Brother Luke, thank you very much. I want to thank our director, Marshall, and our camera people, Connie and Cassandra, and all those of you watching at home for viewing. So stay tuned at this time next week for another program on spirituality.
Thank you.
Bro.Luke.